Again to Cassimotive, and in this video what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you 7 lessons that I have learned from SKEPTA that I really hope can serve you and can help you in your life become a higher, fuller expression of yourself. You will know that if you followed me recently and my story, that I have been on this sort of never-ending quest to answer 2 questions. Number 1, how does somebody become successful? How does somebody who has perhaps come from a cancerous state, come from a traumatic background, come from the fostering system, maybe grown up in an abusive household, come from an area where they've been involved in a lot of criminal activity, go ahead and go on to turn their lives around and become successful and become model citizens and become millionaires, billionaires, go on to become an inspirational role model, go on to achieve huge levels of success in their life. How does somebody do that? And the second question that I wanted to know is, how does somebody do that without ending up divorced, without ending up stepping on everybody and on everybody on their path to achieving that, without ending up becoming a dickhead, without ending up killing themselves, or sort of ending up in a situation in their life where they have suicidal thoughts? How do they do that? And in that quest, I have been studying individuals who, in my opinion, seem to have achieved a certain level of success and have left messages for us, and have left a blueprint, and have left advice on how they managed to achieve that, and how they also managed to have that peace, joy, and live in that positive state. So let's go. 5 lessons that I wanted to share with you from SKEPTA. By the way, before I go into the video, I would ask you to consider that if something that I say in this video today applies to you, ask yourself if you're really acting on it. And furthermore, maybe there's one of these that you relate to the most, where you're thinking, actually, Cassie, maybe you're right, and I need to apply this in my life. If so, send me a message, jump on my YouTube channel, Cassimotive, and subscribe to it so that I can keep sending you all these videos so that you can become your highest, fullest expression of yourself. So let's go through these 5 lessons. Number 1, the first lesson that I learned from SKEPTA is to get rid of all the distractions. We live in an era and a time where there is so much distraction happening, I cannot even begin to tell you. And the thing about it is, it's become so normal now to live in this era that most of us have grown up in it. We don't even think that it's distraction. Most of us just think that we're not distracted. And in my quest to answer, by the way, that second question of how does somebody achieve success without ending up divorced, without ending up killing themselves or stepping on everybody before they get there, the one thing that I have come to that is one of the biggest reasons that makes people unhappy is a lack of awareness. Lack of awareness is what leads most people to unhappiness. And that lack of awareness is about awareness around, what am I doing? What choices am I making? What are the people around me doing to me? Are they adding to me? Are they subtracting from me? Are they helping me to multiply? People find it really difficult in their life to really understand where they can get themselves to a point where they can sit in a room by themselves. I do an exercise which I share with people, and I say to people, if you want to really know what your awareness of yourself is for the next 30 days, go in the mirror every single day and say 5 things that you like about yourself. And I can tell you, most people struggle with this. Most people have so much distractions where they're constantly being pulled by their kids, by their husband, by their wife, by their family members, by their work colleagues, by their work, by their boss, by the Instagram, by the Twitter, by their television, by somebody ringing, by their neighbor, that people end up in a state where they actually achieve anxiety. They become depressed because people lack what's called a locus of control. In psychology, we know that in order for a human being to feel happy and to have joy in their life, they need to have what's called a locus of control. They need to feel like they actually have control of their life. And in this era where we're constantly being bombarded and distracted, most of us don't feel like we have control. Most of us, we wake up in a world and we're like, right, okay, instantly, Instagram wants me, Twitter wants me, Facebook wants me, my kids want me. I've got to do something to do with the kids schooling. My husband or my wife needs something from me, and then I've got to do this for them, and then I've got to pick that up, and then the boys, and then the stag do, and then I've got to save money, and then on the weekend, and then the Saturday. We're constantly in this world of just distraction, that we actually don't have peace. Let me explain something to you which shocked me. So I've studied a lot of the people who are highly successful, the likes of Beyonce's, Lady Gaga's, Will Smith, you name it, okay? And do you know the one thing that they all say that they lack? I mean, I couldn't believe this. I thought they were taking the piss, if I'm being honest. Do you know the one thing that they all keep saying that they lack? Peace. I thought, what? What do you mean you don't peace? They say, when you're really successful, there is constantly a demand for your time from somebody. A fan wants to speak to you, and I'm gonna I'm gonna drag this down to bring it to normal level. When we're successful, when we're doing well in life, there is constantly a demand for ourselves, from people who want advice from us, our friends, our best friends, our colleagues, our work colleagues. Our boss, our parents, our wife's parents want something from us. It's like it becomes overwhelming. And so what I would share with you, and is really the first lesson that I learned from SKEPTA, is SKEPTA for 1 year got rid of basically, and this is radical now, this is really radical, but if you really want to find out about yourself and what you stand for, and you really want to find out where you want to go, and you want to get focused, and you want to really find your purpose, and you want to find what you stand for and what your mission is, and you really want to get an understanding of what you believe in and what your core values are, do what SKEPTA did. For 1 year, delete your phone, get rid of your phone. Get one of those like £10 phones that you can get today, okay? You know, the plastic ones, like the Nokia ones. Get rid of your old number and simply have this new number. Let me explain something to you. If people delete Facebook, delete Instagram, delete all WhatsApp, delete everything, and see what happens. Now, already I can hear some of you saying, but Kassim, I can't delete Instagram, but I have to be in that group, and I have to do this, and I need to do that. No, you don't. You just have to, because you've not even seeked any other alternative. You know, I remember there was a point in my life where I had to, because a lot of the things that I share with people, I have to go and basically do myself. So I went through a stage where I was like, well, but if I delete all this technology, and I delete Instagram, and I delete WhatsApp, how the hell am I going to get hold of people? And I got rid of it, and I realized nobody really was wanting to contact me. The only person who really called me was my boss, and I think he called me once in like 4 months. And that was only to ask me what my email was at the beginning so that he can email me my rota. That was literally it. Nobody else really called me. And I think you will be shocked. You probably live in this world, right, where you think people constantly need you. Get rid of your phone. If they really need you that bad as you claim they need you, oh, they'll come and see you, they'll hunt you down, they'll call other people to try and get hold of you. Have you ever been in a circumstance in your life where you needed to get hold of somebody, and you've called their cousin, you've called their mum, you've called somebody they used to work with? I mean, it's so bad and so urgent to get hold of somebody. You've gone, and the person has been like, how the hell did you get my number? And you're like, well, I called your boss, who then said your sister, da-da-da. So I think try this for 1 month. Just see what happens. Delete all your social media, get rid of your phone, or switch your entire phone off. Go into like Carphone Warehouse and buy one of those £10 phones and use that. See what happens to the quality of your life. Just try it. Just actually see what happens. I think you're going to be shocked at how much free time you have. A lot of people, one of the things that they tell me is, Kassim, I don't have any time to do stuff. I don't have any time. My kids are constantly wanting things from me. My friends are wanting things. I've got to do this, and I've got to pick this up, and I've got to... Try for 1 month not having your phone and being off all social media. Watch how much time you have. It will actually be so scary that you want to go back to your phone, because it'll be like, oh my God, what do I do now? See, a lot of us, I go through an exercise, especially with leaders. When I coach leaders, one of the things they're constantly telling me and complain about is, I don't have time, I'm stressed, everyone's demands for me. It's a constant thing I hear from leaders all the time. So I'll say to them, from now on, I want you to essentially get rid of your phone, and I want you to just have only numbers of people who you absolutely need. So people like your directors or your CEO or people like this, right? And your partner, of course, and your grandparents. That is it. Now let's see what happens. Because all of a sudden, their anxiety levels drop. Right? All of a sudden, they realize that they have to delegate stuff and they actually have to do leadership and rely on people. And all of a sudden, they have a lot more free time. Now they can improve their level of thinking. Now they can actually begin to plan stuff. Now they can actually begin to look at their competition and ways in which they can improve their competition. Just simply by such a simple exercise. So number one is get rid of distractions, is what ultimately I want to share with you. To remove all distractions from your life. I went through a stage where in my house and in my car, I got rid of everything. I literally mean where I live, there is nothing apart from anything that I need. I went to charity any clothes that I don't essentially wear. I looked at myself and said, Cass, what clothes do you actually wear? And I looked at it and I was like, do you know what? I probably wear maybe 5 pairs of clothes. That is it. Okay, so I was like, why am I keeping the rest of it? I gave it all away to charity. I got rid of any pencils, any pens, any paper, everything that I didn't need. If you come where I live, it is absolutely, there is nothing. It is bare. But people say to me, but Cassim, you're always so positive and you're always so calm. Because I don't have to worry about that stuff. In my car, when you go into my car, when I had it, I had nothing in it apart from one of those cables to link an iPhone to the cigarette thing. That is the USB thing. That is it. I was like, why do I have all this crap in my car? I don't need it. I got rid of it. I can't tell you the calmness and the joy that you get when you simplify your life. And this is ultimately, if you actually look at Buddhism and you look at people who are monks, do you know what all of it is all around? Simplifying your life. That is it. That is literally it. If you go to a psychologist or a therapist, do you know what they'll tell you? Simplify. You can pay literally hundreds of pounds to a psychologist and a therapist, but ultimately what they're going to tell you is you've got to simplify your life and have self-awareness. That's it. They're going to tell you to see things from a different perspective and basically just drum things down so that you have less to worry about. That's all you're going to pay them for. But they will have to go through loads of psychological techniques just to get you to essentially get to that point. The next lesson that I wanted to share with you, lesson number 2, which I hope serves you, is to speak the truth about what is happening in your world. I've shared with you guys in many videos that every single one of us sees our own problem. See, some people see a problem with climate change, and they see it over and over and over again. And you speak to somebody else and they're like, yeah, climate change is important, but it isn't my major problem. Some people see a problem with the fostering system. They may go and speak to somebody about the fostering system, and the person's like, yeah, that's not really my major problem at the moment. I get it's a problem, but it's not really my thing. So what I discovered is every single one of us has an area in life which we see a problem in. And my question to you is, are you doing anything about it? Are you talking about it? Are you using your life? Are you using your skills, your talents? Are you using your knowledge to go on and improve that area, to go on and inspire others? See, a lot of us, we're doing stuff, we're going to work and we're seeing the same problem over and over and over again, and we keep talking about it, we keep complaining about it, and we tell our mum and we tell our grandparents and we tell our other half, and none of them really seem to be paying any attention. But that's because it's for us to deal with. We are the ones who are caught to it. That's why we keep seeing the problem. We keep telling other people about the problem, but other people really don't give a shit. But that's because we were meant to do something about it. And many times we're waiting and looking for affirmation, and we're waiting and looking for somebody to give us permission to go ahead and pursue this thing. Well, if you're looking for permission, here I am. I'm giving you permission. Go after this thing. Go and solve it. Use your life to actually speak about the truth. Look, if you're an artist, use your art to talk about the violence, to talk about the, I don't know, the birthing process, to talk about the feeding process, to talk about poverty, to talk about whatever it is for you that you keep seeing to be a major problem. I promise you of this, because I've studied this intensely, that there is something which you keep seeing. Now, you may be saying, Kassim, I see loads of problems. No. There is something that you keep seeing, and the thing almost drives you to insanity. It drives you mental. It actually makes you angry, because you keep seeing it and you're like, why is nobody doing anything about this? The reason why nobody's doing anything about it is because you were the person who was supposed to do something about it. But I know you've been so conditioned by society that you don't even believe that you can do anything about it. You're like, I'm one person, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the technology cash, I don't have anything. How can I be the person to change the world? I'm nothing. Yeah, listen, the greatest people through human history who you study have been people who are nothing. Mother Teresa was no one. Gandhi was no one. Martin Luther King Jr. was no one. Nelson Mandela, no one. These people weren't anything like billionaires and millionaires. They were no one. They weren't famous. They weren't some CEOs of companies. They were just normal people. But they felt so strongly and had such a conviction about what was wrong that they used their voice, they used their work, they used their knowledge and their skills to go on and actually speak about what was happening in their community or in their world. The third lesson that I want to share with you is that too many successful people, when they reach a certain level, don't care anymore. I'm sure you've heard of the phrase that many people talk about, which is always remember where you come from. Do you know why people say this? When I first started studying successful people, I didn't understand the significance of that. I didn't really get why loads of people kept saying, always remember where you come from. I was like, what? But why are you talking about always remember where? Why would anyone forget where they come from? But it wasn't until I started studying people and their locations and who people are associated with. See, when you come from poverty, the last thing you want to do is go back to poverty. When you come from trauma and hurt, the last thing you want to do when you've been away from it is to go back to it. And so you become detached from what actually happened. You detach it and you say, yeah, that used to happen, but it's not my problem now. That's their problem. And it's for this reason why so many people stop caring. A lot of people, when they become successful, they move to Spain. And I'm not joking. You know this. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. A lot of famous people move to places like Monaco, Cyprus, Italy. Why? Because they want to try and get away from the thing that they cause them so much pain, and the thing that they made them suffer so much when they were trying to sort of make their way to success. But actually, I want to share with you that really life is all about rising so that we can now go back and help other people. See, there's some people out here where you've had several miscarriages and you've got to the point now where you've had a child. It's been a miracle, amazing. You've been blessed. You've got this beautiful child. But now that you've reached it, the last thing that you want to do is go back and talk to people and share your knowledge and share your experiences and share what the process that you went through with other people. But that is, and tell me if I'm wrong here, would that not be one of the greatest gifts that you would have wanted when you were going through that? That you felt alone, that you felt like nobody understood you, that you felt like you couldn't talk to anybody, that you felt like nobody, it was like the end of the world, it wasn't a possibility that anyone could ever go through this. Would that not be what you felt like? And the thing that you felt like is what you're robbing from other people. You've become what I call a generational thief. You've taken all the experience, all the knowledge, the gifts, the wealth, the potential that you have to impact other people's lives, and you've taken it with you to the graveyard. You're never going to use it. You know, I love it when I see people like Mel B stepping forward about their domestic abuse, because they've taken something which made them suffer, something which was a horrible state in their life, and they've tried to use that as a way to empower other people, to coach other people, to make use it as to sort of give an awareness to other people that this stuff can happen to even the strongest of people. My question to you that I pose is, have you reached such a level of success in your life? And I mean, that may be in your relationship, that may be in your health, that may be in your career, that may be financially or spiritually, that you've actually forgotten about where you've come from. You think, Kassim, I'm not famous, I don't have money, I'm not a billionaire, I'm not a CEO, so as a result, my life can't really impact somebody else. When in reality, what you've been through, the fact that you've struggled with cancer, the fact that you've struggled with a family member going through dementia, the fact that you've struggled with money, with gambling, the fact that you've struggled with an addiction, if you would go back and help somebody else, that could be one of the greatest things that can ever happen to them. Something for you to think about. The next lesson that I wanted to share with you that I hope can add some value into your life is that we all have a different journey to our Nirvana. I'll repeat, we all have a different journey to our Nirvana. I was watching an interview with SKEPTA, and one of the things that they were asking him about is that they were asking him about the fact that, well, your children, do you think that your children are going to grow up privileged, that they are not going to be able to reach the levels of success that you have because they've grown up having loads of money and you live in a nice neighborhood and you have you can travel around the world and you have all this privilege? And he said to them that, hold on a minute, because that's not how it works. Every single one of us has our own problems. Rich people have rich people problems. Poor people have poor people problems. And he talked about the fact that just because you've grown up in a certain neighborhood, it doesn't mean that your journey to getting to where you're capable of getting to is not going to be hard. And this actually became true when I started studying people who struggled a lot where their parents had wealth. If a lot of people who are born into wealth and born into privilege have it much harder, believe it or not, than somebody who is starting from the bottom. When you're starting from the bottom, there is no expectation of your life. Everybody you're just a statistic. Nobody really cares. If you do well, wonderful. If you don't end up in prison, cool. But there isn't really any expectation of your life. When you grow up in a household where people are already successful, they expect you to uphold that success. People expect you to take it to a completely different level. People expect you not to fail. They expect you to have the best grades, to have a decorum, to behave a certain way. The expectation is so huge. I remember that in a part of America, they found basically there was an epidemic of loads of kids basically killing themselves in a part of America, a very wealthy part of America, and it got so ridiculous that they had to literally do like a formal inquiry into this as to why so many kids were committing suicide. And they found that the kids had so much pressure to succeed, so much pressure to become successful, that it was almost too much. They were looking at the Mark Zuckerbergs and all these really people who like the owners of Uber who've become successful overnight, and that was the expectation that their parents had on them, that it was like it was too much. The kids never thought that they'd ever achieve it, so they thought, well, we might as well give up now. Can I suggest to you that your journey at the moment may seem tough? That you may think, yeah, but Cash, other people have it better than me. Like, look how much more good looking they are. Look how much more talented they are. Look how much more they have such better friends. But let me give you what my friend told me. My friend said to me, Kassim, just because everything looks good on the outside, it doesn't mean everything is good on the inside. That's what my friend said to me. My friend said to me that, Cass, listen, I know loads of people have it all together, but it doesn't mean that when they're behind closed doors, they have it together. And that's what I share with you. Listen, I know it's tough. I know you're struggling. I know your back is against the wall. I know you feel like everything is against you and you're having to overcome obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and you feel like you want to give in. Don't give in. The winners never give in. There is no winner who you've ever heard of that is described as a quitter, as they gave in. As when things got difficult, they just couldn't take it anymore, and as a result, they gave in, and that's why they're a winner. Winners continue going even though things are hard, even though they have their back against the wall, even though everything is against them, even though they're the underdog. Listen, still keep stepping forward in the direction of your dreams. And don't worry about other people. They have their own problems, trust me. I can tell you this right now. I spend my day literally studying people people's lives and what they think about and how they deal with success and how they achieve success. And I'm telling you, whatever problem you think they don't have, they do. Whatever people you think, oh, their marriage is so fantastic, it isn't. I'm telling you, it isn't. I can't tell you, friends of mine, right? I literally have friends of mine who I thought, oh my God, look at their relationship, it's so amazing, and they're getting married, and it's brilliant. And yet, one of them comes to me and they says to me they want to speak to me in private. I said, why you want to speak to me in private? And they're like, Cass, listen to me, man, our sex life is really bad. We don't have sex anymore. You know, she feels depressed all the time. She feels loads of pressure from her parents, and we don't have a sex life. And we've been on our honeymoon, and we had sex like once on our honeymoon. And I'm like, what? But you just got married. What are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, but yeah, that's just how it is, man. Like, she's got loads of pressure at work, and it's just not good. And it's like, and it's just affecting us both. And I'm thinking, wow, look how happy they are, and look at the dress, and look at when they went on their honeymoon, and it's like, oh my God, look at them. But in reality, it's shit. So let me explain to you, whatever it is that you're going through, somebody else is going through worse. Just take Castle's word on this. I'm your friend. I know what I'm talking about. All right? And just keep stepping in the direction of your dream. The next question that I would share with you, which I hope adds some value into your life, is that people are looking for you for direction, especially for men. Let me explain something to you. This has been actually strange, is the only way that I can explain it. Do you know, I have the ability to look at statistics about who looks at my videos, and I have the ability to be able to tell. So I sometimes do adverts not adverts, like I can sponsor videos to see what kind of interest people have on my videos. 90% of my audience are men. 90%. I thought, what? Yeah, but that's probably because I'm a man, and of course lads are going to be interested. No. And I thought, right, something's not right here. And me, whenever I have this instinct where something isn't right, I go and research it. I then started studying other people who do what I do. And I found that their audience is mostly men. And even for women, a lot of men are lost. We live in an arena today, and an area where most men have no idea what they should be doing. They have no idea. Should we live in an area, when I teach leadership, I tell leaders that we live in an era of experimentation, meaning that there are no rules anymore. There is nothing set in stone. What a man has always been taught a man should be like isn't how a man should be like. The man's role is, you tell me, what is a man's role today that can be universally agreed upon? We don't know. Is a man supposed to be the provider? Is it okay for a man to be at home and the wife go to work? Is it okay for a man to cry? Is it okay for a man to be emotional? Should a man be into sports instead of like art? There is just so much confusion for men that a lot of men are just looking for somebody to essentially say, this is how you should be. It is for this reason why people like Putin, people like Donald Trump are drawing so many crowds, because there are people who genuinely stand for something and will not be fazed by anything. They're strong characters, and we're drawn to people who are strong characters. Especially when you're lost, you're drawn to something which has conviction, something which can show you direction. Here's my point. Loads of you men and women out here, you think that nobody's looking to you. You think that, yeah, but no, come on. I mean, Cass, I'm no one. But people are looking for you for direction. You may not even think it. Some people may keep asking you questions, or some people may keep wanting to meet up, or wanting to be your friend, or wanting to be around you, and you just think it's normal. It's because they're looking for affirmation. They're looking for direction. They just want, they're looking for somebody to just listen to me. Listen to me, people. Okay? Do you know the average man has not heard somebody say to them that they love them? Did you hear what I just said? The average man has not had somebody say to them that they love them. And even worse, the average man has not heard their father say to them that they love them. Now, okay, well now you say, yeah, but Cass, it's not that significant. Like, calm down, Cass. Imagine a child growing up all up to the age of 18, not being told by their father that their father loves them. How do you think that child would feel? I just want you to know this. And I want you to recognize this. Anytime that you see a man, affirm this stuff for him. You're loved. You're important. You're significant. Give him direction. Give him advice. You know, one of the biggest problems that I think is occurring in the world at the moment is the lack of women standing up and showing men how they should be treated. A lot of women are not standing up and doing their role of helping us men get to where we need to get to. You see, if you look at men who've achieved great things, all of them had alongside them a woman who was tough, a woman who helped them, a woman who stood by them. And a lot of us men, there are no women to kind of say, look, stop being a dickhead, stop being an idiot, get your shit together. I can't tell you the amount of people who I've studied, and when their mums intervene or a woman intervene, their sister, and says, you've got to stop this, they stop it. They stop their gang criminal life. They stop their being crazy because yes, a man does have discipline, but a woman has a certain way about her. It's interesting. I was reading Sir Alex Ferguson's book. And in his book, his autobiography, he talks about the fact that whenever he was wanting to make a decision about a child, that he never asked the father, he always asked the mother. And he talked about the fact that whilst the father wants the child to progress and do the best that he can, the mother always made what was the best choice for the child. They were not so concerned about having the child having loads of money and status and being paid and being at the top. They were just concerned with, is my son going to be okay? Is my son going to be taken care of? Does my son feel safe? See, women have that amazing ability, and so many women, you're not using that to help us men become all that we're capable of. Some of you are just sitting idle and watching so many men drive themselves to insanity and craziness and just doing deluded things. They are lost. They have no sense of purpose. They have no sense of drive. And we men need you women. Just something for you to think about. The next lesson that I wanted to share with you is to have a metaphor for your life. I mean, you've seen my metaphor. My metaphor is very simple, and it's really the philosophy that I stand for, which is seek to be your highest, fullest expression of yourself. And I would ask you to ask yourself what your metaphor is. What is the foundation for which you've set your entire life on? What is the thing that people know is really everything that your entire life revolves around? Because there is you've got to try and figure out something. It needs to be the blueprint that you set your entire life around, and that you everything that you do branches from that. So, for example, if you think about, for example, a company like Under Armour. Under Armour's motto or metaphor is to help athletes is to help individuals get the best clothing that they can in order to optimize their performance. So everything that they do, whether it be from a shirt, from trainers to socks, is all from that basis. My question to you is, what is your foundation? What is the basis? What is the foundation that you built everything else on your life on? Everything that you do, everything that you stand for, the charities that you support, the people who you hang around, the words that you speak, the people who you associate with. What is that foundation? Because a lot of people don't have that foundation, and that's why they're struggling. They're just all over the place. The next lesson that I want to share with you, the last lesson, is that a lot of people have a lot to say, but very few people are doing anything. I repeat, a lot of people have a lot of things to say, but a lot of people are doing very little. My question to you is, what are you doing to solve the problems that you keep seeing? You complain that there is loads of hate in the world, so what are you doing about it? I watched a movie which I'm due to do a video on, a movie called Woodlawn. And in that movie there was a clip that quite literally is really impacted me quite greatly. And there is a scene in the movie where you've got all these American football players in a stadium at night, and they turn off all the lights. and it's pure darkness. And then they light one candle. And that candle, the guy says to them, can anybody not see this candle? It's one candle in the middle of a massive stadium, which probably can hold maybe 20,000 people. And everybody could see that one candle. And the man talks about the fact that one candle in the darkness can still show light. A lot of us are not doing anything in the world. We're not solving problems. We're not doing correcting things in the world because we believe that we're just one person. We believe that one candle can't do anything. But let me give you a metaphor that I shared in a video yesterday. A single raindrop is not responsible for a flood. I will repeat. A single raindrop is not responsible for flood. But when one raindrop drops, and it's multiplied by thousands of them, all of a sudden now you have a flood. Here's my point. One single candle cannot light the world. Of course it can't. But it can be the spark and the ignition, and when you multiply one candle times by millions of people across this globe, all of a sudden the world changes. The light, the spark in the world all of a sudden changes. So let me ask you a question. What are you being the light for? Who are you being a light for in this world? Who are you fighting for today? You've been talking about how people should be good and you should do great things and you can be successful and anything is possible. Wonderful. Would your life be a reflection of that? If I looked at your life, if I followed you around for a week, if I talked to the people around you, your friends, your family, your work colleagues, your best friends, would people honestly say that you are a representation of what you keep claiming? Would your life show me? Because there is an African proverb that says, judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, not the fruit that it wants. Let me share with you, in my first book, I wrote a quote, which is, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote. I wrote about the fact that that kingdoms grow great when old men plant trees for which they will never enjoy the shade of. So kingdoms grow great when old men plant trees for which they will never enjoy the shade of. Let me ask you a question. What are you starting off today? What are you trying to fight for that you may never accomplish in your lifetime? I share with leaders that you can never truly be a leader unless you're doing something for which you will never finish. Most great leaders throughout history, you name them, you study them, I don't care, you name one person, all of them were never there to see their objective finished. It was finished after they were dead. And so my question that I'm really very curious about is, what do you have so much conviction about that you are going to start it knowing that you are not going to enjoy the fruits of? You're going to work hard, you're going to fight for it, but it's never going to be accomplished in your lifetime. Something for you to think about. So those are the 7 lessons that I wanted to share with you from SKEPTA that I learned. But what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts? I'm always keen to hear from you guys. If you like what I've shared, jump onto my YouTube channel, Cassimotive, and subscribe to it. And continue seeking to be your highest, fullest expression of yourself. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.